True Talk Session. We back with our second guest for the night, Mr. Skyzoo.
Yeah. What up?
What's going on, my brother?
Cooling, man. Cooling.
And how was that ride over here from Brooklyn?
It wasn't bad. Actually, came from the city. I had some running around to do, so had to handle a couple other things. Had some TV stuff going on I had to handle on the way here. So you know.
Quite the busy man.
Are you jumping ahead of my interview?
I'm sorry.
Somebody told me about since you opened up the door. I heard you had like a TV deal going on, a drama series or something. You was writing or something?
Yeah. Well, that's not what I was doing today, but yeah, that is very true.
Oh, you doing other TV stuff?
Yeah, I had to do this thing for Fox 5 today, so that'll be on tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm trying to give him my.
Yeah, I had to do this Fox 5 thing today. Shout out to Lisa Evers and the whole Fox 5 News and all. I had to do this thing for them today. That's gonna air tomorrow night. But the other TV stuff you're talking about, is a drama series that I've been writing for a couple years now that I've been working on kind of behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And now I'm at the point where we're getting ready to shoot the pilot and do the whole thing. So we're casting. I'm actually holding auditions in a couple of weeks for the cast and the whole layout and the production staff and the crew and how we're going to put all that together. So that's coming in a couple of weeks. I'm working on, like I said, this drama series that I've been penning for a while, as well as all the ghostwriting that I do for people, and as well as all my own stuff the touring. And
hold on, don't just run through that. Wait, stop.
Oh, you got a list. Question. Okay.
Did you? No, I didn't have that on the list.
I didn't.
I mean, now I know why Skyzoo the writer. For so many reasons now, besides writing lyrics for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So you ghostwriting for people?
Yeah, I've been doing that for a minute. It's funny, today, Forbes Magazine, I did an interview with Forbes Magazine last week. Shout out to Forbes Magazine. I did an interview with them last week, and they actually dropped it today online. So it's a video interview. The article is written out online, and it'll be in the print mag as well for the Hip Hop Cash Kings or whatever. You know, they do the list every year.
The one that had Smoke DZA and you at the table?
That came out today. Yeah. So I did an interview with Forbes Magazine about being a ghostwriter and how that works, and if I'm writing for certain people that are on the top 10 Cash Kings Forbes list, which I can't say yes or no to because I wouldn't be Casper the Friendly Ghost. But so ghostwriting is a very big part of my everyday.
So we have Casper the Friendly Ghost here as well as Skyzoo today, as well as the
dual personalities.
Wow, I didn't expect this. You're ahead of me right now.
You didn't know about the ghostwriting thing? Yeah. Well, I never talk about who I pen for, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I've been penning. I got records in stores on Billboard right now that I wrote. So
when when that whole Drake thing happened, how did you look at it?
You want it to you don't want anything to spoil the business aspect because I'm a writer for people, so I'm like, chill, God. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're trying to continue to cash out. But at the same time, I think the issue with all that was, and this is totally off topic, but I think the issue with all that was whether or not he was getting help, that's up for debate. I'm not here to debate that. You can listen to reference records and take what you want from that, or you can ignore whatever it is. I don't think there's no right or wrong answer. But I think the issue with people came from, if you're writing, if you're a rapper, if you're a Puff, a Timbaland, a Dre, or whoever is openly known to get help, you don't look at them or fault them for getting help because you're like, well, I don't look at Timbaland or Puff or Dre to be the best MC ever. I look at them for being entertainers, producers. Dre is the greatest producer ever. You know what I'm saying? I've been with him in the lab just as a fly on the wall and working on other things for other people that he was involved with. Like, it's ridiculous working with Dre. You know what I mean? I can say that from personal experience, just being in the aura of it. It's ridiculous, So you don't look at a guy like him or Puff or Timbo.
Expect him to be like a writer.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You look at them for everything else they bring to the table. But then when you have guys who are looked at as the king right now, or they the nicest of this generation or whatever, I think that's when people are like, wait a minute, you getting help?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you was this guy or that guy. And I think that's the issue. And that's not singling out Drake at all because Drake is dope.
He's dope.
He's super dope. Shout out to the homie. I know him personally. He's super dope. And again, we don't know what's what. Everything is alleged. You know what I mean?
So he gives credit to him for the songs he's
right for whatever they've helped. But all of the other discussions and all that stirred up everything. We don't know what's what. You know what I'm saying?
Artists get busy sometimes. Might not have time to write this guest feature.
Right.
To get him a check.
Whatever it may be, and that's that person's situation, and it's all good. But at the end of the day, I think whoever it is, whether it's Drake or whoever else, I think the issue comes in when you look at that person as being so great. You look at them as being king of the moment. You look at them as, this guy or this girl or whoever get busy, I look to them for that. Then when you find out you're supposed to be looking at 4 or 5 different people as opposed to just the one, that's when you're like, whoa, hold on. You know what I mean? So that's where it becomes tricky at. But, you know, again, as a ghostwriter, hey, come on, keep it going.
I think that Casper just kind of gave us, like, you kind of narrowed the list down for who you ghostwrite for, though. Because it's obviously not an artist in that category. It's an entertainer. So you write for entertainers.
Oh, no. I pen for people who, you know, are entertainers. I pen for people who are looked at as. It's whatever. Rap, R&B.
Yeah, I tried to get the
list
narrowed
down.
No. I was trying to get the list narrowed down. I was trying to narrow the list down. Like, okay.
You slid in. No.
Jack, no way. You know what I mean? I'm not one of them guys that's going to air that.
Nah, that's cool.
That was going to be my next question. Mm-hmm. You know, despite what was going on, did you respect how it was done? Because nobody would have known nothing if, you know,
I mean, right.
Catch a fit.
Right. I think, you know, as far as the two of them, Drake and Meek, you know, you don't know what the situation was brewing up to that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, something was bubbling that we didn't know about because the light switch ain't going to come on and you're just going to snap out the blue. I think something may have been leading up to that, whether it was business or personal. Mm-hmm. Something may have been leading up to that got to that point, and that's between them, and we don't know what it is. But, you know, the way it was handled, I mean, we all could say yes and no in either capacity. So I don't know if we could even really, because I may sit here and handle something a certain way. You may handle it differently because your emotions are vested in it differently, or you look at it from. So we don't know, you know. But you know, I mean, Money got his credit, like he said, and there's certain things that he did acknowledge that the kid got and all that, and that's dope. You know, again, like I said, just being somebody who does pen for other people, you know, it's definitely a dope sport, and we just don't want to see. We don't want to do nothing to jeopardize it. You know what I mean? But I've always been respectful, and I don't want to make the whole interview about ghostwriting, but I've always been respectful of whoever I pen for and whoever I pen with, as whatever relationship we have, keeping that tucked. If they want it tucked, then it's tucked. There's certain people that may not care, whatever. But I keep it tucked. I'm secret squirrel regardless.
That's a business way of doing things.
And I'm a Capricorn, so I'm secret squirrel regardless. You know what I'm saying?
So goes to secret squirrel.
Watch a lot of cartoons.
Yeah, see.
Old school.
The art of storytelling. Well, you display a lot of storytelling in your projects.
Right.
Do you think the art of storytelling is missing in music nowadays?
It was. I don't think it is anymore. Okay. I think it's coming back. Absolutely.
Why?
I think artists like myself, and then even if you take myself off the table, you look at guys like Kendrick, you look at guys like Cole. I think even guys like Drake, you know, the way Drake is able to tell a story about his emotions or whatever he's dealing with as far as certain females or whatever, and playing the other side of the spectrum, it's all storytelling. To me, storytelling doesn't have to be, you know, person, place, thing, name, date. You know, it doesn't have to be that. Like Nas did that a lot, and we grew up on Nas. I'm one of the biggest Nas fans ever.
I mean, I am too.
People look at me as like, oh, you're like the new Nas J hybrid, whatever. You know, I'm somebody who prides themselves on being able to, you know, say I grew up on those guys. But people always called Nas a storyteller because he did that, which was great. But people always said Jay wasn't a storyteller because he didn't do that. But he was a storyteller. Yeah. He just didn't do name, place, date, people. You know, Nas would tell you, yo, so-and-so was running through the lobby and da-da-da-da-da, and so-and-so from downstairs wearing the so-and-so thing would come through, and he picked up the joint, I opened the door. Jay never did that. Jay just said, this is what it's like being me every day. Both of those things were stories. You know what I mean? Both of them were stories. So for me, I think storytelling, it did take a hiatus for a minute, but I think we all, you know, I go through that whole analogy to say storytelling is back strong. You know what I mean? Well, storytelling is back on.
You brought his name up just now. I had that as a question, too. I always felt like you being from Brooklyn, you're one of the top Brooklyn MCs to me.
Appreciate it.
Like, you know, because you say New York, but Brooklyn.
Right.
I always felt like me being a hip-hop fan and so much in the music, I felt like Jay-Z should have gave an acknowledgement to you somehow. Has he personally, if you met him? But I felt like publicly he should have said, like, the way he did for Fab or something.
Right.
He should have been like, yo, Skyzoo's that dude.
Well, with Fab, you know, it definitely was business-oriented because Fab was Def Jam and Jay was president of Def Jam. And, you know, once you get in it, and you know because you in it, but I'm saying this to the listeners and whoever. Yeah. Once you in it, you understand the business aspect of it, and you understand the chess moves that get played with everything, you know. I have met him years and years ago. I mean, maybe over 10 years ago I met him. But I know behind the scenes, people in the camps, et cetera, I know what it is with that. You know what I mean? And I know what the feeling is with that. And the what's the word I'm looking for? The respect, just the kudos. I know the salutes. I know what it is with all that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I know the things that do exist when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So, but again, this game is all business and all that, and you can't even really be mad at it. Whatever's to come is gonna come, regardless. You know?
Because at one point, which was leading up to what you said earlier, I at times would listen to him and feel like, is Skyzoo ghostwriting for Jay-Z?
Nah,
That's what I'm saying.
right.
You were jumping ahead of my stuff, but this is what I had.
I'll openly say no way.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys who does not get help. He's helped people.
Okay.
He's written for Dre. He's written for Puff. He's helped people. So and that's open. Like everybody knows he wrote still D.R.E. for Dre. Everybody knows he wrote a couple joints on the PD album, the Puff joint in '99, and everybody knows he was penning all types of heaters for Foxy, and everybody, he come fly with me and all that. Like, what he did, so nah, he doesn't get help at all,
Was Spike Lee really your hero?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, definitely.
For his vision that he had?
Yeah. What it came down to was, growing up as a kid, being from Brooklyn, and being somebody who was creative from jump. I started rapping when I was 9.
Yeah.
I started really young, so being somebody who was creative from Brooklyn, grew up in a house with my pops. My pops was with me every step of the way. One of the few in my neighborhood who had like I said on the record, one of the few who had his pops out the whole block. One of the few kids who was able to say that. It's like, as a kid growing up, I was taught what to value, what to appreciate. I was taught about the Black Panthers and, Black history and our culture and our people and standing on your own too as a man, and all those things were preached in my house. And then I saw somebody like Spike who was able to keep those values instilled in him while still becoming a multimillionaire and a cultural icon. And for me, that was everything. I was like, how does he become as successful as he is without biting his tongue? Still flexing his pen the way he wants to, still telling the stories the way he wants to, still putting the neighborhood that I know, do the right thing look like my neighborhood. That was my neighborhood. So like, how's he able to do all those things without biting his tongue and become mega successful and become a cultural icon, become a legend, filthy rich? How does that happen? And those are the things that made him my hero. The fact that he didn't have to bite his tongue to be successful.
Now, you say that your father was very, relevant.
Yeah, absolutely.
In your growth.
Yeah.
Do you really believe that having your father there constantly is, kind of makes it better? Because you do have men that's grown up without a father.
Absolutely.
And has gone on
a lot of my
friends,
a lot of my best friends.
Great things. But do you think that had they had that male, perspective in their life, it would have made things different?
Oh yeah. No matter how great, a lot of young black men turn out without their father, it would only be greater with. It's not something, well, if you had your father, you wouldn't have been as great. No, you would have been greater. No matter how great you are, Jay-Z is great. He would have been even greater if he was fortunate enough to have his partner. He'll tell you that, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Like, if everything worked out the right way, Yeah. So it only enhances the situation. It only adds to it.
Do you still? You mentioned that when you started rapping, you're 9. I had that as a question too. Do you still have those ideas you had for the theme of your album when you was 9 years old?
Yes and no. I think a lot of that stuff comes out on your first album.
Okay.
Because there's a saying that you take your whole life to make your first album, and every album after that you only take a year or two. Depending on how quick you pump them out. But the first album, yeah, because what happens is the moment you decide to start rapping seriously or start singing or whatever it is seriously, you envision putting an album out right away. I mean, I was in class 9, 10 years old drawing my album cover. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like drawing, which my eventual album cover looked nothing like what like what I had. Yeah. But I was in class drawing my album cover at 9, 10 years old. And in high school, I was drawing my album cover and drawing the back and where I wanted the track list and how I wanted it to unfold on a cassette, because we still had cassette tapes at the time. Like, those things happen. So I say all that to say you have these ideas of what you want things to be when you start making music. The first thing you do is picture, what would my album look like and sound like and feel like?
But I think you mentioned that in one of your many articles. Because when it was time to do research, I was like, this guy has done everything.
Oh,
but
man.
I think you mentioned that, you pretty much saved that moment and you saved that story for
your
your first album, which was
definitely.
The Salvation of them,
The Salvation was my debut, and there's certain stories, absolutely, where I said, okay, these are certain things I want to talk about, things that I may have been through in my life, whatever the case may be, and as opposed to airing all these different emotions and feelings and stories out on mixtapes. I may tease a little bit, but I'm really just flexing the muscle and just showing people I get busy and making fans out of people, so that when it's time to put a debut album together, I got you in the pocket. And now you know what to expect, what to look forward to, and you can still be surprised, like, wow, look at where he took it. And these are the things that I'm going to express. These are the levels of getting personal that I'm going to get. Now is the time, and that's what happened with my debut. That's what happened with Salvation.
Well, you have, you always had, this is who you are, like the mellow but boom bap feel to your music.
Right.
What age? So you said we was 9 when you started, but when did you decide this is going to be my sound? Because you don't even I see that has that.
Right.
Like it's somewhat of a jazz type feel, which is crazy because you said Spike Lee.
Right.
Where he has that too with his movies.
Right.
It's sort of like a jazz feel, but it's like the boom bap. Like when did you decide this is my sound?
I think it just came over time. It wasn't a conscious decision where I sat down and said, okay, I need a sound so that I don't sound like this guy or that guy. It wasn't that. It just, over time, the beats I was picking, the way I wanted my music to sound, the things that I was going towards as far as ideas sonically. Take the lyrics off the table, just sonically, the production, incorporating live instrumentation. All of those things happened over time, and it became home for me. And it was like, this is what feels best. All these other things are dope as well, and I can easily adapt and play a chameleon and get busy, but these are the things that I want to be remembered for sonically, to enhance and go hand in hand with what I'm doing lyrically. So a lot of the live instrumentation stuff came from the Bad Boy era, and I know Shorty KO was talking about the same thing. I grew up the same way. I don't know how old she was, but I grew up the same way, saying I'm only signed with Bad Boy, when I was like 14, 15, like the No Way Out tour, and the Locks on Clue tapes, and Mace on Everybody record, and Puff No Way Out. That was life. You know what I mean? That was life. Yeah, sure. So those moments are what built me just as much as the Nas's, the J's, and the Raekwons. All those moments are what built me. So I would listen to, especially the later Bad Boy stuff as far as their run, the 96, 7, 8 era, where everything had string sections. Where, Big would do, somebody gotta die, and as the stories ending out, you hear the baby crying, and you hear the da-da-da-da. Done. I was like, I got to do that. Because nobody else is doing that, and that's what music is supposed to sound like. I guess I had an advanced ear maybe at the time, because when Life After Death came out, I think I was, 14? Yeah, I was about 14, 15. And I was like, I got to do that. If I made an album right now, I would want it to be like that. I would want those string sections coming in, and I would want these horns and different things coming in, and it just all kicked in. And then me being a jazz head on top of it. I'm a super jazz head. I listen to more jazz than hip hop, even though I'm a rapper and I write for other people, so I got to stay on my P's and Q's with the pen game. But I listen to more music without words than I do music with words. If you follow me on the gram, Sunday Morning Jazz, that's not the only day of the week I listen to jazz. That's just when I loop people in as a part of this kind of secret society. We'll pull out your records and let's take pictures of the records and talk about these records and maybe trade records, But I listen to jazz every day. Like that, I wake up, jazz. Go to bed, jazz. Whatever. Laying down, jazz. You know what I'm saying? You balance it
real good. Like,
Thank you.
You brought it together. You meshed it so good that it's like, at times, you just don't even really picture that it's jazz.
Right, and that's the point. And that's the key.
Easy for the producers to do it for you, or hard? Because you're not a producer,
right? No.
So you have to have these producers construct these beats for you.
Yeah.
Is it hard for them at times, or have they grown to be like, I know what he likes, I could do this?
It could be difficult if I'm not there to, I guess, kind of lay out what I want and lay down the blueprint and break down what I want. I work with people who I do know can get it. So there are certain people that I may work with for the first time who may not understand it or whatever, but at the same time, I only go to people who I think can comprehend it. So, for instance, you got a record like Range Rover Rhythm off of Dream Deferred. That's a Jaleel Beats record.
Yeah.
And that record, thank you. That record could have went to Meek Mill. That record could have went to Pusha. That record could have went to Jada. That record could have went to Travis Scott because of the way the beat is. It's 808s. It's claps. It's all that. And then I brought my trumpet player in, and I had him play on the hook and the outro. Okay. And then I brought in a jazz singer to la 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 to do all that. And I wrote those notes, and I wrote the trumpet notes with my trumpet player. And when I sent it to Jaleel, he texted me back like, "Yo, what is all that? That's crazy." Because these other guys who may have gotten the beat from him wouldn't have added all that. You know what I mean? So the story is heinous, and it's about driving around in an $80,000 truck with, however much hanging on your neck, and what we go through to get all these things, and living where I'm from, in the city, in the street, and the lavish life, and the balance of it. But then I added all this jazz stuff to it, and it balanced out like you said. Yeah. So that's always been the key. It's never been, okay, let's make this mega jazz album, or let's be jazz and snap fingers quietly. Nah. I'm from Brooklyn, you know what I mean? I want to rap to some hard drums and get busy, but at the same time, I want to add this element to it musically that supports what I'm doing lyrically and the stories I'm trying to tell, and just help paint the scene. If I add the trumpet on that Jaleel record, you get what I'm trying to do in between the two worlds of meshing them together, as opposed to, this is just a turn-up record. Like, it's a turn-up record as far as how the beat sounds and what I'm doing, but then the trumpet added on the hook bleeds into the message, and it all comes together.
But listen, you were talking before we left off. You were saying how much you're into jazz. Is that the reason why you chose to do the whole orchestra feel?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's on the albums, whether it's at concerts, whatever it is, I do. When I perform, it's usually myself, my DJ, and my trumpet player.
Okay.
And when I jump out on stage, it kind of throws people for a loop. At first, it's like, okay, I see the DJ setting up, he getting ready. Skyzoo is next because I know where he's at on the lineup. But there's a trumpet player on stage with the DJ. The DJ is setting up his computer and his Serato or whatever. And the trumpet player is sitting there getting his tools and opening his briefcase and pulling the horn out. And wait a minute, what's about to happen? Is Skyzoo coming out? Is there something else? And then I come out, and then it's nutty.
It's crazy.
And it's like, yo.
Would you prefer a live band versus a DJ, or?
Nah, well, the DJ element is hip-hop, and it's great. I mean, at the end of the day, performing with a live band every night is life, but it's also expensive. Okay. So that's where it all came in, because I always wanted to perform with a live band as often as I could. And I realized, I said, okay, well, if I want that element, but I'm not trying to travel with 7, 8 people everywhere I go, and flights and hotels and breaking up the bread, how can I get the best of both worlds? How can I save and be smart business-wise and economically, but how can I still get that live feel? Okay, well, what if we just picked one instrument as opposed to a whole band? Then I said, okay, well, what's my favorite instrument? What would it be? The trumpet is my favorite instrument, and I don't play.
I was about to ask you, do you play any instruments?
I don't, but I want to learn.
You haven't learned, Jay.
I'm too busy penning for people. I don't got no time. That take 5, 10 years. Nah, but I do want to learn to do that, though. That is on my bucket list, that I want to learn just for myself. Maybe not to even play on a record or play live, just to be able to sit in the crib and play, or sit in the backyard or in the park or whatever, dolo.
What would be
your
choice of instrument?
The trumpet. Oh, the trumpet. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, trumpet.
My favorite show I've ever seen live to date was with a live band. It was St. Andrew's Hall in Detroit, and it was the Roots, Outkast, and the Fugees.
Oh wow!
And because the Roots were performing, I don't even know, because I was doing a lot of weed and stuff back then when I was in Detroit. But now I'm honest, so like Mike might remember what year, because I came back and was in Brooklyn.
That's nuts. Yeah, that's a crazy show.
Because the Roots were performing, everybody had to rock with them, and it was like, to this day I haven't seen a show top that.
Right.
Fugees rocked with them.
Right.
Outkast rocked with them.
Yeah, they did the whole set.
Black Thought had a top more because it was his band. So what he did, that's when I first saw him do the segment of whatever beat they played for any hip hop group. He had to do the first verse to each song from any artist.
Right. So he had to know it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, yo, that right there was a. So the live band aspect still, to me, like you said, you still gotta have a DJ,
right?
But it just brings so much more.
Oh, definitely. And the crazy thing about it, though, the live band element is a dope way to cheat nowadays. I've seen a lot of artists, up and comers or whatever, with a live band. It's like, man, they alright. And then when you hear the record, it's like, whoa, that shit is basura, like, you know what I'm saying? But because they had the band and the band was rocking, 1, 2, it's like, oh man, like, let's get busy. And then when you hear the CD or the MP3, it's like, whoa, hold up. You know what I mean? So it is a way to cheat if the musicianship is right. But if you know what you're doing, though, it's definitely a special moment.
Collectively, album and mix CD wise, I don't say mixtape. I say mix CD because we don't have mixtapes no more.
Right.
What collectively? How many projects do you have to date?
Oh man, let me go through them. Yeah, honestly, they might be like 16, 17.
Okay.
That's just looking at all the covers in my head. EPs, mixtapes or mix CDs, as you say, full-length albums. There might be like 16, 17 to date.
Now, from the albums that from the beginning to now, to the album that you have out now, up to now, what was the big change that you might have said to yourself? You feel like, yo, I've grown from this album to this album. What was the changes?
Oh, well, definitely just enhancing the craft. I'm big on shooting 1,000 jumpers a day, meaning, every day you in the gym, no matter how dope you are. There's stories of Ray Allen literally shooting 1,000 jumpers a day. That's kind of where I get the term from. There's stories of Michael Jordan winning the ring back to back to back, going to the Bahamas for 2 weeks and then coming home and going right back to the gym when he could have took the whole summer off. There's those stories of those who are great. It's good and then it's great. So for me, it's about shooting 1,000 jumpers a day no matter how much we won. So if everybody's saying, yo, Music for My Friends is a classic, it's the album of the year, or it's top 3 of the year, whatever, it doesn't make me take a day off. It makes me work overtime to continue to compete with that and beat that. Because the next time out, I got to beat Music for My Friends. I did the Salvation. Nobody thought I could top it, and then, boom, A Dream Deferred, blew it out the water. And everybody said, yo, diehard fans was like, yo, there's no way you're going to be able to top A Dream Deferred. A Dream Deferred was too special. It was too perfect. Yeah. And then when Music for My Friends came out, they was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, how did you do it?
Because that's how I felt.
Right.
Like, with each project, the albums,
right.
I was like, yo, every time he just topped the next one.
It's always about growth. It's about growth and constant elevation. I don't think there's a ceiling. I think if you're Jay-Z, there's no ceiling. If you're Nas, there's no ceiling. If you're Eminem, I don't think there's a ceiling. So I think the moment that you do start hitting your head on the ceiling, it's time to climb down and just call it a day. Okay. So that would be me whenever that day comes, and, God forbid anytime soon, the day that I can't do it anymore, I'm just not going to do it.
But do you honestly think that you're never, when something's in you and it's a love and it's just that passion, it never really dies?
Right. Well, let me clarify. I guess I'm saying the day that I can't do it on an elite level. Okay. If I ever felt like it ain't coming the way it used to, it ain't hitting, you know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there trying to write and I'm struggling and I don't really like it. That's when I'm going to chill, And I may still pen in the crib for myself. I may hear a beat or whatever, and by that point, I'll be an old man or whatever, but I may still get the vibe or the urge to write a little bit, but I wouldn't go out there trying to put no album out if I had to struggle to make a great album,
Now, going back just a little bit, I'm a whole fan. Okay. To my soul.
Me too.
Like,
yeah.
I was just arguing what was the guy that came for my neck?
Somebody online, I don't know.
Thump, something Thump. I just remember Thump. Okay. And he came.
I'm a super Jay-Z fan. I don't call him Hove, but I'm a super Jay-Z fan.
Okay, yeah.
Because Hove is God, and
it's
like people are calling him God and don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a super Jay-Z fan.
Did you go on an impersonation of Jay voice real quick?
No, not at all. I didn't even. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize it. Oh man, nah. But but that's totally. I don't want to take you off your point. I want to hear what you had to say. So go ahead.
What made you what made you decide to recreate Reasonable Doubt when you did?
Yeah, that came from the fans, 100%. So what happened was, Elzai, super dope MC out of Detroit. Shout out to Elzai. Elzai made an EP called. He redid Illmatic. He called it Elmatic. That's right. Yeah. So he redid Illmatic. He called it Elmatic. Super dope project where he redid Illmatic. Nas. Okay. So it comes out and everybody loves it, as they should. L is super dope. And somebody tweets me. This is 2011. Somebody tweets me and says, since Elzai just redid Illmatic, can we get Skyzoo to redo Reasonable Doubt? He's the only person who can handle that. So I retweeted it and wrote like LOL with it. And it took off. Comment stupid. Yo, you gonna really do this? You gonna do this? Yeah. Yo, is this real? Yeah. So I was like, whoa.
The social networking is crazy. Only take one thing.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, slow down. Like, nah, I had no thought of doing this. At 2011, I was working on A Dream Deferred, and I was it was the beginning stage of A Dream Deferred. I was gearing up for all that. I think Great Debater mixtape had just came out, so I was like, nah, like, I'm not planning on doing that. No way. And then it just kept going. So then it got to the point where I was doing interviews like here with you guys, doing interviews like this, or magazines or websites. And they would ask, in the middle of whatever we would say they were at. So by the way, are you doing Reasonable Doubt? And I was like, you know what, man? So 2 years later, 2 years of being asked about it and requested, and I did it for the fans. I literally did it for the people. I said, you know what? Let's do it. But I said, if I do it, it's got to be different. You know, L did it with a live band, and that would have been my first thought, do it with a live band. But once L did it with a live band, I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm big on not biting. That's how we grew up, especially in my era, my generation. It may be different with these young kids nowadays. We're big on not biting. You know, I'm not doing that. So I was like, L did it with a live band. That's crazy. Will Sessions, whatever. How can I do it without doing that? I'm not just going to rhyme over the instrumentals. Anybody could do that. So what can I do? And then I get put on to a dude out of Philly named Ant-Man Wonder. Ant-Man Wonder is a producer, composer who plays pretty much every instrument, and he does everything with an orchestra. So I got put on to him through my man Illmind. If you know me, you know Illmind, of course. Amazing producer, brother of mine.
You was with him last night, kicking it with him.
Yeah, at the Slaughter Joint, yeah. So my DJ is actually DJing that tour, DJ Prince with the dreads.
Prince with the
That's my
dreads?
DJ, yeah.
Shout out to Prince.
Yeah, shout out to my brother. That's my personal DJ on tour every day, whatever. So he's on that run with them before we go out on our thing. So anyway, so Illmind puts me on the Ant-Man Wonder. I go to Ant-Man Wonder's SoundCloud, and he has a remake of Bring It On his page, just an instrumental of the Bring It On, Jay-Z, Sauce Money, Jazzo.
Throwback.
And it's ridiculous. It sounds like a 20-piece string section orchestra is behind it with the drum rolls. It's larger than life. And I'm like, yo, that's how we gonna do this. And I hit him right away. Yo. He hits me right back. Yo, I've been a fan. I'm so glad you reached out. Let's kick it. Done. And I was like, if we do it, this is how we gonna do it. Every record is gonna sound like this Bring It On beat. And that's how it happened.
How was the pressure?
Again, it was more about me. You know, I knew he was gonna get it because the word is he listens to everything. He watches every video that hits the internet, listens to every, record, every interview. He's on it. With everybody. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about in general. He watches every battle. I don't know where he gets the time from, but he's tuned in to everything. You know what I mean? So I knew it was gonna get to him. His baby, his firstborn, so to speak, his favorite album, the one he fought Dame over for publishing and ownership and royalties. Absolutely. There was no way he wasn't gonna hear this. You know what I mean? So, and I knew, all right, let's go for it. And I just did what I did, and what made people love it was the fact that it was my spin on those realities. It wasn't me saying, I'm in the car and I got 2 keys in the trunk and, Poppy called me and da-da-da. It wasn't that. It was me taking those same scenarios that he spoke about, but putting myself in those shoes and saying, okay, if I, as Skylar, was in Sean's shoes as far as being in these situations in life, what would I do? What would my reaction be as somebody who didn't live that life on that level and all that, somebody who's from the other side of the Stein, not from Marcy, somebody who grew up a certain way but different, had his pops the whole time, everything, in that regard. How would I react in the same situation as Regrets and The Evils and Dead Presidents and, what all the other records we did, So it was my spin. It was my point of view as opposed to me just trying to reenact who he was. And that's why everybody was so in love with it, because they say, yo, you did it perfect. 9 out of 10 rappers would have just pretended they were him and tried to one-up him lyrically, but pretend they were him as far as coke sales and running around and this and that and, friend or foe. That's why we didn't do friend or foe. You know what I mean? That there was certain records I was like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. It would have been great to do it, but I was like, that doesn't make sense for what we're trying to do. It doesn't make sense for the story.
Do you see that, or do you feel or hope, let's say that, do you hope somebody would do that for you, for your first album?
That would be dope. I wouldn't shun them. Depending on who they were and the talent level, I wouldn't shun them.
Later on down the line.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't shun them.
That was your baby.
Right. And obviously, I would be interested in what the person sounded like even before they did it. I wouldn't, right away if somebody sounded like, where's SoundCloud link at? Like, I want to hear how nice he is. You know what I mean? But
or whatever it is.
Right. Whatever it is at the time. But, once we got past that stage, I would definitely be interested, as long as it's done tastefully, respectfully. That's the thing. I didn't go into the project, we curse on the air, right? I didn't go on the project trying to shit on son and do it, because it wasn't about that. Like, I grew up a fan. I'm still a fan. Regardless of whatever, I'm a man and I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man as far as what I do, but I'm a fan as well. So the respect is there. So I didn't go in the project trying to shit on son or, yo, I did your album better than you. It wasn't about that. It was just me saying, okay, this is how you pay homage to something. You put your own spin to it, and you do it respectfully, you do it tastefully, and you do it where it continues to push the culture forward. So we literally did the whole project with like an orchestra. So you're listening to, politics as usual and all these things as opposed to just a loop. It's an orchestra, it's string sections everywhere, and it's like Stevie Wonder meets Quincy Jones meets the, Carnegie Hall for Reasonable Doubt's original samples and drums. And then me with what I do lyrically and me coming from more of a scholastic, educated point of view as far as my pen, not because I'm better than anybody on that sense, I'm better than everybody lyrically, but not in the sense not not in the sense of being a better person, but I went to school my whole life and I was AP English my whole life. Okay. So it was about perspective. It was more about perspective, and when you do that and you add those other things to it, this is what came about, and that's the drawn out story of how that all happened.
He said the drawn out story. Music for my friends.
Yeah.
First of all, the dumbed down question. Are really your friends on there doing the insert? The
skits? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's dope. That
every one of them.
Actual friends.
Yeah.
I wanted the project more genuine.
Yeah, I did that on purpose just for what you just said. Yeah. I wanted everyone's reaction to be that. I wanted it to be, well, wait a minute, that's not a celeb or somebody famous doing a drop. Mm-hmm. Who's that? Yeah. Yo, this is AI, da-da-da-da-da. Yo, this is Mill. Yo, this is Foof. Who are these guys? These guys in my life. Mm-hmm. But they special to me. That's dope. Because those are the guys that's on the cover of the album. Those are, you hear the very first drop after All Day Always. That guy is my best friend in the world. That's like my brother. Ate almost as many meals in my house as I did, and vice versa. And he's on the cover. He's the one at the bottom of the steps with the glasses and the bald head, dark skin. That's him. Okay. So when I was getting the cover designed, dude named Chris Murray out of Philly did it. Shout to him. When I was getting the cover designed.
People to do stuff for you guys.
I know, right? Yeah. Shout to Philly, man. So, when I was getting the cover designed, I said, I need a guy that looks like this. I need a guy that looks like that. I need a guy to be wearing this. Like, I picked out the outfits for myself. Put me in penny ones with a black hoodie with a Knicks fitted because that was me in 95. The cover looks like 1995 because in 95 I was 13. And the album is about where I am nowadays or where my friends and I are nowadays in 2015 based on how we grew up in 1995 because we were 13 at that point. Yeah. And I feel like when you're 13, 14 years old, that's when you're the most impressionable because you're caught in between these two worlds, right? And this goes into the whole concept of what the album's about. You're caught into these two worlds. On one hand, your body's changing, your mind, your thought process is changing, your voice, you're growing, whatever. You like the opposite sex and you're interested. You're becoming an adult in a sense. Your opinion starts becoming more like an adult. Your responsibilities and things like that. But at the same time, you're still a kid, so you still got a curfew. And you still write a Christmas list for your parents. And you still want whatever for your birthday. And you still wake up on Saturday mornings and eat cereal and watch cartoons. But you're like an adult. And, you looking outside at shorty down the block. And you want to figure that out. And you don't even know what to do, but you want to figure it out. Whereas 2 years ago, you would have never thought about figuring it out, So when you're 13, 14, those things are happening to you. So whatever goes on around you at that age, that's what you're going to adapt to and what you're going to become as far as how you think and how you look at the world. You're super impressionable at that age. 13, 14 is the most crucial point of any kid's life, no matter race, gender, economic background, whatever you see and are exposed to is going to turn you into who you are. So the album is about this is how the world is nowadays. This is how we look at the world and the things we value and prioritize because of what we saw when we was 13 in 95. And y'all's may be a little bit different. I doubt it because y'all look like y'all come from the same place I do. But there may be some people who don't come from the same place we come from. So in 95 when they was 13 or whatever age they are when they was 13, they may have saw things differently. And that's why they live a certain way while we live a certain way, while these people live a certain way.
Absolutely.
And that's where it all comes down to. So that's the concept of the album. That's the full-on concept of the album, music for my friends. And it's literally things that happen to my friends and I. Even my parents. My parents are young. My pops was always there for me, still is. My mom's always there for me. But my parents had me young. They were like 19 and 20. So they listen to all my music. You know, they're still young per se. They're early 50s, so they listen to all my music.
Oh, yeah,
you know, so they listen to all my music. They have every CD I've ever put out, all the little demos I was sending to the labels with 4 songs on them with a picture and all that in the bio. They have that. Like, they have everything. So my parents were like, yeah, the album's great. We love it. But they were like,
what's the music for your parents?
Right. They were like, this album, it's great and we love it, but it feels more about the things that you and Adrian, or you know, those are my friends, you and Adrian, or you and whoever, it feels more like they relate to it more than anything. And I was like, exactly. Perfect. That's what I wanted. You know what I mean? That's exactly what I wanted. And then when I talked to A, he's, yo, dude, this one? Yo, this one? Yo, you know everything is great, but this one? Dude, what the fuck? This one. This is the one. Yo, son, you heard Everything's for Sale? Yeah, I wrote it. You know what I mean? Like, yo, son, but did you hear it? You heard it though, right? Yo, you heard Civilized Leisure, son, when you said da-da-da-da. Yeah, I wrote that. You know what I mean? So that's the joy of it. You know, that's the joy of all that.
We'll get into this women that cook.
Women who could cook.
Some type of way, Scott.
Why is that? It's an uplifting song.
Because what if you can't get home and make these extravagant meals?
Well, here's the thing.
What if you work 4 jobs?
Oh, shit.
I respect it. Here's the thing. It's not saying, oh, you have to come home every night and do that. It's saying you're capable of doing it. If you working a bunch of jobs and you got a lot going on, then absolutely your man who you live with or whatever is supposed to be able to hold you down, you know, because I can cook as well, you know. So at the end of the day, it comes down to both being able to do their part. But you got a lot of women out here who can't do that, or who refuse to do that, or who aren't concerned with doing that, and that's not their priority, and that's not even on their mind. And that's what the record is about. That's where it comes from. So honestly, it's bigging women up in that regard, because there's a lot of women who are proud to be able to cook that are like, yes, thank you, I get busy. Because at the end of the day, if you listen to the album and the records before it and the skits and all that lead into it, it's like, okay, we meet, we kick it, we bug out, we jump into bed, we do whatever, we had a time of our lives, everything is great. But then after that, what else is there? After you look amazing and whatever, and we do this, that, and the third, and we remember it and it was crazy, what else happens? It's like, what else is there that we can offer besides how dope we look and how ill we are? And please believe I'm all about that. But after that, is it just like, all right, word up, yeah, that was all you really had to you? Or do you have more to offer? And you're probably going to be asking me the same thing, like, well, what else do you have to offer? So that's what the record's about.
And yeah, I'm only saying that because guys look for women to be all these things, but guys have forgotten how to kind of court a woman.
And they've got to be able to do that. They got to be able to do that 100% and do it the right.
Like, guys don't date no more.
And
it's
even
no more let me take you out.
And then even after that, though, even after you've been going out, you've been kicking it, and then, you know, it goes down, you lay in the bed, it goes down, you spend the night, whatever.
That. You deserve that home cooked meal.
And then it's like there's a lot of women who are more concerned with possibly, you know, La Marina or whatever than it is to being able to get busy in the kitchen, you know, on a Sunday and, you know, watch the Giants. You know what I mean?
Female attracts Scott?
I mean, I won't watch the Giants, but
she's a cowboy fan.
What are we doing?
She's a cowboy
fan.
A what?
Cowgirl
fan. I mean, she's a cowgirl.
But we two and what?
Okay, I gotta go.
We two and what though?
I gotta go.
I'm just saying.
What type of female attracts you?
Oh man, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm about physical appearance and looking great and all that, but really on top of all that, on top of being slim and curvy at the same time and gorgeous in the face and everything that I'm addicted to, on top of that, it's about the vibe, being able to kick it, you know, and even if you're not into all the things I'm into, having an open mind to be able to understand how to appreciate it maybe. Because 9 out of 10 women from where I'm from, my age or a little younger or whatever it may be, aren't into jazz. You know, they didn't grow up in a jazz house. They didn't grow up on Spike Lee like that. They knew who he was, and they dug some of the work. They'll take a selfie with him if they met him, but it don't really go beyond that. So they don't really know about jazz.
But that's
Spike
what you bring to the table.
Exactly.
Them, you know
but
I mean?
And if a woman isn't able to really, you know, appreciate that or be willing to be open-minded with all that, then that's where it gets weird and uncomfortable. You know, so those are just the things that I look for. But as far as women who could cook, though, it was just an idea I came up with, fun, lighthearted record that still made sense within the texture of the album. You know, I kind of thought of Girls, Girls, Girls a little bit when I was coming up with the record, when I was writing it. And once I was laying it down, it made me feel like Girls, Girls, Girls. Even the beat, I was like, okay, you know, it wasn't me trying to redo that record, but after the fact, I was like, yeah, it kind of got that vibe. If you was a fan of Girls, Girls, Girls in 2001, or if you're cut from that cloth, then this will suit you. And that's all it really was. And every dude loves it. Every dude has heard it. Because what dude don't want a woman who could cook?
But are these guys doing what they need to do?
Well, you got to ask them that on Twitter and all that. You got to ask them that.
I'm just saying.
But
where's the chat when you need it?
Where's the what?
The chat.
She wants to know if people in the chat room.
But here's the thing. You know, on top of that, there's a lot of women who love the record. I haven't gotten a response yet from a woman that was like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And you know, they all was like, "Yo, word, that's what's up."
And that's what I think a lot of, especially women in my generation, and they take the whole Miss Independent thing way too far.
You know what I'm saying?
Way too far.
And I want you to be an independent woman. I want you to get your Destiny's Child on, and you know what I'm saying?
But they don't get that being independent means that's just a situation you in. If I'm by myself, then I have no choice but to do things by myself.
And if it comes down to it, you can hold it down yourself.
Nobody on this earth wants to do it alone.
Absolutely.
Nobody.
100%
and I don't mind. And that's the thing. You know, guys want to talk about you treat a man like a king, and it's like, well, are you coming to me?
You got to treat your woman like a queen.
Absolutely.
100%.
And are you coming to me with that?
You don't get no argument here. 100%. You know,
but
it's got to be balanced.
This generation, I don't even want to say the younger generation, because you got old ass men that don't necessarily know what to do.
But it is a generation thing. You know, the hospitality is gone. The catering too is gone on both sides of the table, not just one. You know, it's you know, the gram fucked up the world, and the tweeters and shit fucked up the world. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different generation. It's just social media made it a different world for this generation.
But I also believe that some women who do cook and do all these things, they kind of take it too far in believing that because I do all this for my man, he won't stray and do these other things.
It makes it makes it a little safer at home, because you're like, what am I it absolutely does, but it makes it like, what am I going outside for?
Exactly.
My woman is bad. She cooked crazy in Vicky's.
And that, again, it depends on the man.
WAP game crazy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm saying too much, but you know what I'm saying? It's like WAP game crazy. Cook in Vicky's, get busy. Buy me tickets to the Nick game.
How many amazing women have done that, and men had still straight away though?
It depends on the individual.
And I'm not mad at you, you know, but absolutely, you know, it's all case specific. I don't think it's one thing across the board. It's all case specific, but it makes it easier to stick at home, and if you do step out and you do dip, it makes it harder for you to live with yourself dipping. You like, man, I got to join at home though. She look like this, and she got this, and she do that, and she could hook up a plate, baked macaroni, turkey wings, some starving Ghostface can't make shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It makes it like, damn, nah, I ain't going nowhere. Let me chill and get this plate and lay up. You know what I mean? So it makes it a little tougher, and vice versa. You know, when a dude is treating a woman the way they want to, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, whether it's financially, from time to time, splurging, holding them down, appreciation, being there, then it makes a woman be like, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going out with my friends. I'm good. You know what I mean? So it just depends on the situation, you know, but it's mutual.
I recently saw, this last week, really, you was in L.A.
Yeah.
You was with Tyrese.
Yep.
Now, what was that all about? Is there anything going on
Reese-wise
with him?
Yeah, Reese is like my big bro, man. Shout to my bro Reese. That's like family at this point. Obviously, you know, through the industry, through music and all that, but that's like family. I met Reese last summer. Him
Reese, so I know it got to be.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
Reese as in Tyrese. That's that in my bad.
He made it personal. Like, you know they got a relationship.
Right. That's my fam. You know, it's to the point where when I go to LA, I don't even get a hotel. I just stay at Reese crib. You know what I mean? Like, that's my family. So like, he goes out of town, and go ahead. I'll be back in a day or two. Do what you want. You know. So it's at that point. I met him at a studio last summer, summer 2014, and we built from there. And really, with Reese, it's more so just connecting the dots. You know, building and vibing. It's not, you know, it's definitely music related, but it's not, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's just a real dope, unique relationship, situation where whatever I need, you know, I can holler at him and vice versa. And there's so much that he has going on that I'm able to learn from. And we got similar personality. He's a Cap, I'm a Cap. So it's like we got so many ideas and personalities, similarities where it's like, yeah, we trying to take over the world. I'm trying to take over the world. You trying to we got so much drive and all that. And it's all music related, of course. You know, we working on music. You know, I've worked on stuff at his studio for myself, and, you know, he's been a part of and whatever. So it's just a super dope situation. And business-wise, you know, we doing some publishing stuff together, and he's helping kick in some doors for me, and just different things of that nature. So, you know, it's just an ill situation.
Did you pen some work for LL Cool J's next project?
Nah.
I saw you in the studio with him too.
Oh
I'm
man,
like,
nah. But you know, and that was ridiculous. Just being around the legend, you know what I'm saying? Just being with him and all that. That was, you know, out of control. And there was a couple times we was hanging out there at the crib with Reese and bugging out and whatever. So it was super dope. Super
can
dope.
we expect a collabo project from you and Tyrese? That would be dope too.
A whole project? That would be wild. I don't know. That would be ridiculous.
How neither one of y'all thought of this shit?
I know, right? Well, because he is in like 30 movies. Like, you know, everybody and their mothers coming to the crib for meetings with him, and I'm just in there, you know, writing and working and recording, you know, or bugging out or whatever. So, you know, but yeah, Reese is an awesome dude. I always say, and I've said it on the gram and Twitter and different things, there's not too many real ones in this game, and he's one of them. You know, there's not too many that are genuine, 100%, hold it down, whatever. And he's one of the handful of a few. Like, Reese is in that bag for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Skyzoo, the artist, Skyzoo, the man, you gave us all of that today.
Yeah.
I'm very happy you came through. And you
appreciate it.
I'm sorry about last week, too.
Nah, it's all good. You know, safety first. You know, so I'm glad everybody was all right. And dope interview, man. So I'm good with it. Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime you got anything you want to do as far as, you know, dropping anything off, sending videos this way, whatever, anything you want to promote.
Appreciate it. I'm going to come back over. She bring a plate because she said she bring
I want to see this shit, too. Yeah, I want to see this, too.
But don't let your pops make it and then say you because you said your pops was not. No, I'm not saying you would. I'm just saying you shouldn't.
I thought
we A1. We super cool. We cool they lot. I just, you know what I'm saying? I just, you know.
Don't get with him.
Listen, I'm glad
I
you said
expect that from this guy.
Okay. You got me.
Well, we had you here long enough. I'm sorry for keeping you this long.
Nah, it's all good. My bad on the delay. You know, I had a couple things going on, like I said. My bad on the delay. But I'm glad we was able to get it done and all that and make it happen. So salute to all y'all for doing this. Salute to y'all for keeping the culture alive, keeping hip-hop where it is, bringing the energy that you bring to it. You know, it's all love.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Word up.
It's True Talk Sessions. Skyzoo, Bella, Grizz. Any last words? Hold on. Any last words before I get in trouble?
Now you want to act like you care about my last words.
All right, that's her last words. We out.
Oh.